Good morning, everyone. Ira Feuerstein. It's Insights with Ira, episode 2. We're here today to talk about how to create raving fans in your business. And I know you are going to be absolutely pumped by our guest today. He's got some amazing insight. He's the only person I know that can pull off a very specific uniform, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But I want to thank you all for coming today, whether you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. We're live everywhere right now. So thanks so much for joining. You can chat with us and it'll show up in my studio here. And if, ask your questions, make your comments. We'd love to hear from you all. Of course, everyone's muted. We can't hear or see you. So chat is our only way of communicating together. So with that, let's get started here, everybody. So I want to just tell you a little bit about me first, if you don't know who I am. So I've been in the voice over IP world for many, many years. I grew a very, very large business over at a company called Nextiva. I've recently went out on my own in business consulting, and I actually helped build a $100 million business, recurring revenue. And during that time, I learned a lot of things about business and how to scale businesses, how to grow businesses, what to do, what not to do, all those types of things. And my job, I have 2 jobs in life. Number one, if you're a channel partner, if you're a technology consultant or an MSP or a virtual CIO, I help you take technology solutions, over 300 technology solutions, to your customers. If you're an end customer, you're not a technology consultant, I can help you procure technology. And my job is to be a source for you to look at multiple options, unbiased, help you make the best decision on bringing great technology into your business. And when I say great technology, I mean things like voice over IP or contact center or new mobile phones or new bandwidth for your office or SD-WAN or, credit card processing, build a new website, any of those things I can help you with. So with that, let's get started. So today we are going to be talking about the Savannah Bananas. And you may think I'm bananas, but you won't think I'm bananas after we're done here, because they have created, and Jesse, who's going to be on here in a moment, I'm going to bring him in, have created a fans first mentality in their business. And they are literally reinventing the game of baseball. There's a lot of lessons to be learned here. And before we invite Jesse into the room, I want to just give you a little teaser of kind of what you're in for. So check this out, this little 2-minute video.
It's better than any sporting event I've ever been to. Yeah! Here in Savannah, we've got the #1 place to come to and watch baseball.
You've got to see it for yourself. There is going to be moments in the game where you're like, I can't believe that just happened. Or, what is this?
Everybody! Are you kidding me? Inject this in my veins. This is chaos. Yes, I'm all in.
Over the weekend, the bunch going viral once again.
That whole story it's a movie waiting to be written. Now, the themed hitter walk-ups might be my favorite thing in baseball right now. Where they get to introduce themselves on the microphone.
Every single game the Bananas have played at home this summer, well, it's been a sellout.
It's not even a baseball game, it's a circus. It's a circus. And I think the sold out stands, say it all.
The key is to continue to focus on how you can make it nonstop fun, make it faster, and make the entertainment never stop.
We can play in pants, we can play in kills. We're just a good baseball team. We're out here having fun, and fun wins.
Every single night is someone's first game. It's opening night for somebody coming out every single night.
Yeah, you may be 5 miles from home or 2 miles from your office, but when you step foot in the historic Grayson Stadium, it's like you're at Disney World.
The famous Savannah Bananas are coming to Mobile in the near future.
how can we create even more special moments for our fans? How can we wow them as soon as they pull up to the stadium to when they leave? What can we provide that's going to make them go home and say, this was the best experience of my life?
Wow, if that didn't get you pumped, I don't know what will. That was fantastic. So with that, I'm going to bring in our guest of honor, the only man that I've met who can actually pull off a yellow tuxedo. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So Jesse Cole, Savannah Bananas, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm excited to be with you, my friend.
Yeah. So everyone, I go way back with this guy. I don't even remember actually how I first met him. It might have been on LinkedIn or somewhere, or maybe somebody made an introduction somewhere along the way. But over the years, we've become friends. He's spoken at an event that I did a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love what Jesse is doing with the Savannah Bananas. I think I read somewhere online they consider you like the P.T. Barnum of baseball, or maybe that's your own thing. But he is literally reinventing the world of baseball. And this is important to understand, because in the world of business, you've always got to be reinventing yourself. You can't be the same. And that's why I wanted to bring Jesse in today. I wanted to bring him in so everyone can learn how to build a fans first mentality in the business. So Jesse, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about your background. Take me back to when you were first born, your weight, those type of. No, I'm only kidding. Now let's just go back maybe to college, because I know you played college baseball, right? Let's talk about that and kind of what your transition was. I'd love to hear about it.
Sure. It's funny. I started as a baseball guy, and now I'm more just kind of a ringleader, a circus guy, and I'm not much baseball at all, even though I own a baseball team. I played baseball my whole life, fortunate to get a college scholarship, and then tore my shoulder, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. That ended my career, and I thought I was going to go into coaching, and then I realized sitting in a dugout watching a game in the best seats in the house, I was bored out of my mind, literally bored watching a baseball game. And so I said, well, could we change that? And so I took over a team as a general manager at 23 years old. And how do you get a job as a GM at 23, Ira? It's the worst team in the entire country. That's what I took on. And so, took on that team, 200 fans coming to the ball games, only $268 in the bank account my first day. Couldn't pay myself the first 3 months. An amazing struggle, amazing challenge. But I took 10 years there of learning and asking the question, what business are we in, but what business are we really in? And I learned very quickly that we weren't in the baseball business. We had to be in the entertainment business. And we started building a fan base with that first team, and started selling out games and experimented for 10 years. And I love your shirt, Experiment. That is one of our E's on how to create raving fans. I love it so much. And so now then we took on a bigger challenge in Savannah, Georgia. And 6 years ago, we said we're going to go to a bigger market that had professional baseball and try to make it successful. And we failed miserably and learned so much there that we've really been able to take with us on how to create raving fans, because we didn't have any fans, let alone customers, when we first started.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing. It's funny. I had a baseball career too. It's just my baseball career I sucked at. And I still remember in high school, I got up into the batter's box one day, and there was this guy pitching who ended up going to the pros. And he threw like a 93-mile-an-hour fastball that came like inches away from my chin. And of course I jumped out of the box, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, I don't know if I like this so much. And then he came back with like a 75-mile-an-hour curveball that I thought was going to hit me in the head, but it didn't. And then ump called a strike. And I knew my career was pretty much done then, because I wasn't going to make it as a baseball guy, but even though I like it. So Jesse, let's talk a little bit about like how you decided. I mean, not how you decided, how you created this concept of fans first. Where did you start? Like, how did that thought process go?
Well, at first, the name of our company was Team Cole and Associates, which sounds like a terrible law firm or accounting office. So we missed the boat there. And then we were trying to realize, who are we? What do we stand for? And why do we do our business? And everything's for the fans. And so we named our company Fans First Entertainment. We made our mission simple: fans first, entertain always. And every decision we make, we ask ourselves, is it fans first? And I believe no matter what business you're in, I believe the future of business is not how many customers you have, it's how many fans you have. Customers are transactional, they come and go, but fans never leave. And so we had that mentality, except we failed when we first came to Savannah, and we were marketing like everyone else, trying to sell like everyone else. We were the new kid in town, and we sold only 2 tickets in our first 3 months. And it was January 15th, 2016 that I got the phone call that we overdrafted our account. We were completely out of money. And my wife turned to me and said, Jesse, we have no other options. We have to sell our house. So we sold our house, emptied our savings account. We're sleeping on an airbed. And that was just 6 years ago. And it was at that point we realized we had to do something dramatically different. And I believe constraints foster creativity. And so we had one of the biggest constraints ever with no money, no ability to do anything differently, no customers, nothing. And so we had to get creative. And that's really how we started building this idea on how to stand out, be different, and create fans.
So what were some of the lessons that you learned in sort of pivoting? Because you were pivoting, right? You tried traditional type of things.
Yep.
The traditional type of things obviously failed miserably, and then it's on to the next. Okay, what do I try next until I find something that works? What was it? What was that aha moment that like you did something that got people's attention? What was that aha moment?
Yeah, well, there's two things. So number one, you can't have the hearts of your customers or potential fans until you have their eyes and their ears. So attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. We were marketing like everyone else. We had to go after attention. Once we went after attention, then we attacked the friction points and frustration points of the experience. And that to me is the starting point of all innovation, is eliminate the friction. Put yourself in the customer's shoes and eliminate the friction. So attention, we decided to name the team after a fruit, and no one wanted that. I mean, no one. We had a name the team contest, had over 1,000 suggestions, and no one was interested in that. We actually had, fortunately, one woman suggested it, Lynn Moses, as a joke. And we named the team the Savannah Bananas. And we were crucified. The owner should be thrown out of town. You guys are an embarrassment to the city. Everyone ripped us apart. But they started talking about us. And that was key. They started at least knowing who we were. And then they started hearing, wait, they're going to have a senior citizen dance team called the Banana Nanas. Wait, they're going to have a male cheerleading team called the Mananas, but it's really just a dad bod cheerleading squad. Their mascot's going to be split. They're going to have slippery banana drinks and frozen bananas. And they start realizing, wow, these guys are fun. They're starting to think about things. And, I'll never forget the opening night, first game, 2016, first game ever of our history. The team was playing in green uniforms because we weren't quite right. And we actually literally made 6 errors and played terrible. And the game was rain delay. Nothing was happening. So about 6:30, 7 o'clock, I went to the Banana Nanas. Can you guys dance? They're like, it's raining right now. I'm like, just do something. We got to entertain the fans. And they went out in the field and danced in the rain, women in their 60s and 70s, people taking videos, cheering, going nuts. And fans stayed till the end of the game. And they watched our players dance. And they watched our players deliver roses to little girls in the crowd. And they told everyone from that point. And after that game, we've sold out every single game. And there's a wait list for tickets over 10,000 right now.
Wow. It's funny, because I watch a lot of your videos. I mean, just so everyone knows, I mean, Jesse and the teams, they've been on ESPN. They've been all over on media. I mean, sensations. And this thing sits with me so embedded in my brain. I don't know if it's something you do all the time or if it's just a one-time thing, but it was like you guys were doing like a shtick on the Lion King. And you had this little baby. I don't know if it was your baby or somebody else's baby, dressed like a little banana, and you did like the Lion King.
Oh yeah, that's a tradition in Banana Land. That's the banana baby. Before every game, you get a baby from the crowd, lift them up with the whole players, and say "Na Savannah, na he," and the whole stadium, 4,000 people are doing it. That's how we start the game.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. This is fantastic. So tell me about some of the things that you've done that have been like really successful. Marketing strategies and things that you've done that have gotten people's attention. And then I'd like to hear the opposite side of it too. Maybe some things that didn't work that you thought would work and they just didn't for whatever reason.
So, in the new book coming out, Fans First, I have 5 E's to create raving fans. And the first E is eliminate friction. So the first thing we try to do is how do we make baseball games fun, nonstop entertainment, the opposite of long, slow, and boring. And so that's when we really created a show that has the breakdancing coaches dancing, the pep band playing music constantly, and nonstop promotions. And then the second friction point, we said, when you go to sporting events, you get nickel and dimed. So we made every ticket include all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert, everything with no ticket fees, no convenient fees, which are the most inconvenient fee there is, no parking fees. And when we started, it was $15 total. And so we eliminate friction. And even 2 years ago, we eliminated all the advertisements from our ballpark. So literally no ads, no billboards, because we don't believe anybody comes to a ballpark to be sold to, marketed to, or advertised to. We threw away hundreds of thousands of dollars right before the pandemic. A terrible business decision in the short term. Very bad. But now long term, our fans actually, we're doing 5 times the amount of merchandise as we did in total sponsorship. So our fans have repaid us, which is very nice. So, we started there. So we try to create an experience, and then we entertain always. We try to map the experience. When you buy a ticket, what happens? We have a video sent to you. Then you get a thank you call. Every single person who buys a ticket gets a thank you call. It is completely unscalable. We just announced our Banana Ball World Tour last week and sold 20,000 tickets. So that's about 10,000 buyers. Everyone on our staff, 25 people, were making calls all day. Completely unscalable, but it's those unscalable moments that creates a scalable company that creates fans. So I don't know how we're going to do in the future, but we're going to continue to do it. So it really started with that mapping, eliminate those bad experiences and do the opposite. And then, things fail every day. We do 6 new promotions every single game that we've never done before. And every night things go wrong. The horse head promotion, the living piñata, the halftime show, all things that should never happen in baseball games. We fail, but we learn. And we believe in doing and learning. So it's a long story, but that's really kind of what we do, is constantly experiment, constantly test, and try to figure out what are we doing to keep our fans excited and entertained.
Now, one thing I just want to remind everyone, as you're watching, you can, in the chat on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you can create chats there and it'll show up here. You can ask questions and stuff. So make sure you do that if you have any questions. But, the living piñata, that one sounded a little dangerous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we put a person in a turtle mascot costume and gave kids, we gave them like wrapping paper, the wrapping paper bundles, the handles, and they just hit them. So it wasn't like real bats they were hitting them. And then the piñata was just throwing candy. It didn't make any sense, but it was very funny to watch.
That's awesome. So what are some of your top tips for, you got business owners here, people who are running businesses, and they're looking for ways to differentiate themselves. So like, where do you think they start? Like, how should they be thinking about this? Where should they start?
Your experience. So we spent tons of money marketing in the beginning and failed. We sold 2 tickets. We spend $0 on marketing now, but we spend everything on the experience. Your greatest marketers are your fans. And so we know this, but often how much do we do for them? And how do we map the experience towards them? So, a big thing for us is we realized we were failing at this. And when we first started our Gastonia team, people would just come to a game, they'd walk in, they'd sit down, and they'd wait to be entertained. Any business owner, the experience starts the first time they're on your website, the first time they fill out a contact form, the first time they enter, the first time they call your phone number, the first time they listen to your voicemail. And so I challenge business owners, and we had to do it ourselves, is really map the experience and put yourself in your customer's shoes. Yeah. And so we do this at our games, Ira. I mean, we literally, every night we go undercover. I'll take off the yellow tuxedo and I'll literally walk in with the fans. I'll sit with the fans. I'll eat with the fans. And at the end of the night, we go over all the friction points and frustration points and how do we create more fans first moments. And so I think people, really should look at what's the journey of the customer. How do you make it remarkable? I mean, our invoices, we started making wild, and I can go through those. Our voicemail is ridiculous. Our hold music is different. We make all these and we hear about them. Every 2 weeks, someone calls us and asks us, can you put me on hold, please? Just to listen to our hold music. It makes no sense. But if you make those little moments that people don't think about remarkable, then you can start creating a fan that starts sharing your story with more people.
There's a lot of insight to be unpacked there. One of the things that I always have believed in is that, when you're dealing with customers, people always want to think about themselves first and not the customer first. Like they're thinking what's in it for me instead of what's in it for them. And, I actually stole a page out of your playbook because I had heard you guys were doing this, every time I do a meeting with somebody, I do a 20-second personalized video message back to them. Yes. It costs me literally nothing. A long one is 25 seconds, but the impact that you get from something like that, you can't even put a dollar figure on it. Because 100%. People immediately respond and they're like, their head is about to explode because they would have never expected that. And I think that's the thing you have done such a great job is having the unexpected happen all the time. And it keeps people on the edge of their seat. It keeps them wanting to come back for more. And I think in any business, if you can figure that out, and I think it really revolves around building your brand. What do you want your brand to be? Does it have to be, wild and fun and exciting like you guys do it? or maybe it's some other brand that you want to expose, but doing things differently than you don't have to march to the same drummer.
Yeah. I mean, it's so we literally look at everything that's normal in our industry and say, what would be unforgettable or remarkable? And so you look at whatever the normal is and do the exact opposite. Our whole team says it all the time. Whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. And it's something we're constantly focused on because normal gets normal results. And we learned this sleeping on an airbed. I mean, it was brutal. I remember going to Walmart with only $30 to do all of our grocery shopping for the entire week for my wife and I. That's the spot we were in because we were doing the normal thing. And so it's a challenge, but we started by experimenting and we push ourselves to experiment. That's why we do 6 new promotions every night.
Yeah.
You know, what are the experiments you could have your crew do with your first impression, your website, or after people buy from you? What happens? Do they get just a regular generic email? Do they get a special video? Is there a special, all those things can start creating fans.
Well, and it's interesting. I'm going to give you a bad example of that. So yesterday I signed up for a service I thought would be fantastic, to help market my business. The sign-up process, it was all right. I got an email from them, and the email sent me to a website to go register for the same thing I just bought. That right away, I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm done, because that's not the experience I want. Yeah. Not at all.
Attention to detail. They're not paying attention to it.
Of course. Of course. They're too busy thinking about themselves and not the fans, not their customers.
Yeah. It's interesting if you get with a company, your group of leaders and say, most of the leaders talk about how are we going to grow? How are we going to drive sales? How are we going to drive revenue? What if you had a meeting and say, what can we do to create fans? And say, let's think about the buying experience, because every pay point is a pain point. So every time, and everybody is taking money. If you have a business, you're taking money. So how do you make the buying experience, the actual buying experience, remarkable? So I'll give an example of our invoice if you want that we had to change.
All right? I would love to hear it.
So our invoice begins with congrats. This is your day, the day you've been waiting for. Today is the day you get to pay. You may think you've had days like this, the day you bought your first house, the day you bought your first car, or maybe your first all-inclusive vacation. But nothing is quite like Bananas Payday. So pull out your money order, savings bond, rare coins, Bitcoin, gold, cash, credit card, or check, and make that payment like we know you can. We believe in you. This is your moment. Now seize it. Your life will never be the same. Love, Jesse Cole.
See, that's great. If you don't get a chuckle out of that and laugh at that and think this guy is really cool, I'd like to go drink a beer with that guy, not only support his game, but drink a beer with the guy, you got no soul.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We didn't have that for the first 5 years. It was a normal invoice. But then we start really meticulously looking at every part of the journey and say, that's an opportunity to make it fun, different, and unique. And you have to be focused on long-term fans over short-term profits. There's no short-term profit return of an invoice or making your voicemail different or making your whole music, but it's that long-term impact. And that's why, our shipping experience, Ira, it makes no sense how we ship merchandise. It makes no sense how much we put into that. But in the long term, it's creating fans, and we believe that'll win.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just put a comment up on the screen here. Robert Bowling, who I actually had a call with yesterday, said, I love his attitude to be aggressive to the point of failure, but don't repeat the failures. Learn from them. Very true. Very true. So let's see what else. We got some other comments here. Dan, I talked to Dan yesterday too. Where failure is the win, because that's where the learning and improvement comes from. Very true. Very true.
Well, we got to change the language. We can't talk. We talk so much about failure. Why do we say failure? Because we're taught as a kid that failing an F, that big F in red on our report card or on our test is bad. It's bad. So we look at failure as discovery. What did we discover today? What were the experiments? You either have a success or you have a story. And so we get a lot of stories of things that don't go right. Flatulence fun night, salute to underwear night, you name it. And so it becomes a great story that we can all learn from.
Flatulence fun night. I'll never be the same. Now knowing that exists.
It did exist. It was a good discovery for us and a great story for us.
That's awesome. So, one of the questions that came up here was from a managed services provider. That's basically an IT company, right? Yeah. So they sell IT services to businesses. And, if you look at IT companies, they're generally, I don't want to say dry, because Dan, I'm not saying you're dry, but I'm saying that it's heavy tech, right? So how do you take a company like that and really cause the type of change that you do? And I guess it's a tough question to answer. You know, you got to sit down and talk about it. But do you have any insight into that?
Well, I think there's a general mindset that you can take, and everybody has a customer in their journey, even B2B. You know, who is your customer? And yes, we map things, and one of our E's to creating raving fans is entertain always, which, by the way, a lot of people have a challenge. I'm in IT, I can't entertain. Well, the definition of entertain is to provide enjoyment. That's actually the definition of entertain, to provide enjoyment, to provide amusement. Aren't we all in the entertainment business? So how are you providing enjoyment on the experience? And one of the best lessons I've learned, you know, Andy Stanley said, do for one what you wish you could do for many. And that's part of engage deeply, which we believe in so much. And what we say is listen carefully, respond creatively. So you're in the IT company and you're talking to a customer, a B2B client, whatever it is. Ask questions, find out what matters to them, maybe other than just the IT. And if you know that something really matters to them very well, then surprise them. Do something unique. Like, we listen to our fans. I mean, I didn't even know this story, but like, someone said they got engaged and they were coming to a Bananas game. And in the middle of the game, all of a sudden I see flowers being delivered to this woman and announcing to the crowd that she got engaged. And literally our team saw it on social media, on Instagram. Then Lennon bought flowers, then found her in the stadium, over 4,000 people, and then in the middle of the game delivered it to her. That's listen carefully, respond creatively. What does that look like in an IT situation? You know what matters. If someone's having a baby, what can you send? You know, we send a Bananas onesie when we find out any Banana fan is having a baby. They didn't pay for it. We just send it to them. It's those little moments that I think any company can pay attention to.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, I think one gem that came out of that, there's been a lot of diamonds here, but one that is listen. What was it again? Listen
carefully, respond creatively.
Listen carefully, respond creatively. If you all take anything away from this, take that away, because anyone can do that. You don't have to be wearing a yellow tux to respond creatively, right? You just don't have to do that. Let's see. Bo. Oh, Bo's on. Cool. Bo says business and life is like Tetris. If you fit in, you disappear. In order to survive, you have to do things that make you stand out, and the Savannah Bananas absolutely do that. It's very true. And Bo, I know how you do it. I know exactly how you do it. So fantastic insight. That's great. And let's see here, just a LinkedIn user, Andy Stanley. Jesse, you had my interest. Now you have my attention. I don't know. Do you know an Andy Stanley? I don't know.
Andy Stanley was the reference to the quote I said.
Oh, got it.
Do for one what you wish you could do for many.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So I know we're getting to the end of the hour here, or half hour. There's two things I want to talk about real quick. Number one, talk about the Banana Ball World Tour, because this is the real reinvention of baseball. Like, you've reinvented the fans side of things, but now you're reinventing the baseball side of things. Can you talk to that really quick?
We are fanatic about our fans, and we're obsessed with inventing new things on their behalf. And, you know, we've learned this from my two biggest mentors, Walt Disney and P.T. Barnum, but even from a new sense, what Bezos is doing or has done with Amazon, obsessed with the customer, constantly inventing on their behalf. So we don't do surveys with fans. We believe they're biased. We believe in the Henry Ford quote. If you ask people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. But we believe no one would tell us they want a game like Banana Ball. But we started watching our fans. Every 30 minutes at our ballpark, we take a picture and video of our grandstand to notice when fans are getting up, when they're leaving the ballpark. And we know that 40 to 50% of the fans sometimes leave before the game's over. It's telling you baseball games are too long. Yeah. So 4 years ago, we started testing behind closed doors a game called Banana Ball, a 2-hour timed game. Batters can't step out of the batter's box. Every inning counts. If you win the inning, you get a point. Batters could steal first. There's no walks. We eliminate all the boring parts. There's no bunting. And if fans catch a foul ball, it's an out. And we started playing it, and 95 to 98% of our fans stayed till the end of the game. Their response has been unbelievable. People don't want to leave their seats because they feel they may miss something because it's so fast and hopefully so entertaining. And so we announced a one-city world tour last year as an experiment, and for some reason sold 7,000 tickets in 24 hours to Mobile, Alabama. And now we've announced 6 more cities, and 7 nights sold out in the first week. And it's unbelievable. And we're just so fortunate that people want to see something they've never seen before. And, you know, we're going to fail or we're going to discover a lot of new things with these experiments. But the reality is, I think that's how you continue to grow. And you show your fans that you're not standing still, that you're doing new things for them. And that's what they want. And that's what we're going to continue to experiment with and evolve with.
Love it. Love it. And then lastly, talk a little bit about your book that's coming out. I'd love to hear about it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the first book, Find Your Yellow Tux, was 4 years ago, and that was about the journey to stand out. And now the next one is Fans First. Change the game, break the rules, create an unforgettable experience. And I share the 5 E's to creating raving fans that we've been using, and we've learned from a lot of different great businesses. And that it's a fun book, fun story, and it's coming out in May, and we're very excited to share it. And
so it'll come out in May. Available where?
Just at this tiny little hut on the corner of a road in Savannah. There's no way to get it. No, obviously it'll be everywhere. But we are actually going to launch the world's smallest bookstore in Savannah, and a closet in our stadium, and that's where it'll be live. But yes, Amazon, our website, everywhere else, we're going to.
All right, cool. Well, guys, I'll say this. You need to pick up a copy of his book. Very, very quickly, or in May when it's out, pick it up. It's going to be great. I got the first one. It's fantastic. Hopefully you learned a lot today from Jesse. I know I did. I learn every time, and I can't wait to come down to Savannah and actually experience it myself. As long as I'm the baby you hold up at the beginning of the game.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds the first grown man to be the banana baby. I would only peg you to do that, Ira.
I shouldn't have said that because that may actually come true. But thank you so much for joining today, Jesse. And everyone, I want to leave you with a couple of things here before we close up. So we have some upcoming events that you need to be aware of. So on February 16th, I have Roberto Monaco coming on. He is the chief presentation officer for a company called Influenceology. Roberto is my personal speaking coach. He's the guy, if you think I suck in public speaking, he's the guy I'll blame it on. But if you think I'm great, I'll give him credit also. But Roberto is fantastic. I mean, he's going to talk to you about how important it is to be able to storytell. And Jesse is storytelling in a lot of ways through some unique means, but you need to be able to learn how to storytell. And Roberto is a rock star. Like, he taught all the Anthony Robbins people, if that puts it in perspective. So make sure you're there on February 16th. On March 2nd, I've got Barry Moltz coming on. Barry is a good friend of mine out of Chicago. He's a small business expert. He has 4 books that he's authored. His most popular one, I think, is How to Get Your Business Unstuck. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about here. You know, how to get unstuck, how to do things differently, how to change your mindset in your business. And I'll leave you with one last thing, my call to action. If you're a potential partner and you want to potentially partner with me and bring technology services to your customers, hit me up. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. I'm everywhere. If you're a potential customer and you need help making some decisions on technology, hit me up. I can help you with that. And with that, Jesse, I'm going to let everyone go. We're at 11:33. We went 3 minutes over. I'm so sorry, everybody, but this was a great, great one. And I know we'll have a lot of people watching this recording in the future. Jesse, again, thanks so much, dude. I love hanging with you, and I love your insight, and you're a true inspiration to me and to lots of other people.
Thank you so much. A lot of fun. I appreciate you, man.
All right, guys, we'll see you. Have a great day. Thanks for joining, everybody. Bye.